and we're at Kodak Hall at Eastman Theater with legendary percussionist Harvey Mason. Harvey, welcome back to Rochester.
It's welcome to be here. I'm happy to be here again.
So,
That's great.
So this year's festival has an interesting theme, Herbie Hancock. So a number of Herbie Hancock sidemen or alumni are playing this year's festival. So yourself, we also have Buster Williams, among many, many others are playing. Mike Clark,
and Bill Summers.
Bill Summers, yeah.
They're
all
the
this week.
Headhunters band,
Yeah, all this week.
I was one house leader in there.
So it's. I mean, I just noticed the theme of this year's festival, not all by accident, by the way, just all by coincidence.
Wow. I was supposed to be here earlier, but the COVID interrupted it.
Yeah. 6 years ago, isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's right.
6 years ago.
Time flies.
It does. So before we talk about Herbie, I wanted to ask you a question about the Mizell brothers, because you worked with them with Donald Byrd, with Bobby Humphrey, among many others. So what was that like to work with in that world of the blues?
Well, it was a lot of fun. We would go in and we would just jam, basically. They had some charts, but they'd stand up in the middle of the room and say, we're going to B now, we're going to C, we're going to D. And then we keep playing, we groove, and they'd say, okay, we'll finish that. We didn't even know who the songs were for.
Really?
Yeah, because Donald wasn't there, and so they would add him later. But that's actually Fonz Mizell worked with Motown a lot.
Right.
And that's why they do things over there. They have the cards, just in the room telling everybody when we're going to move. And so they started that same sort of routine with us. We were going, it was a great studio, and we just had a good time playing. That's why the music sounds so good. And they had six guys at least in the sessions.
Yeah.
So
speaking with Harvey Mason, so Harvey, give us an idea, because it was yourself, Billy Cobham, Steve Gadd, Lenny White, that generation of drummers who came through could only just not play jazz. You guys could play anything. So just that generation, talk about just growing up in that world of being able to have sticks and go play and be able to make something work and make something sound amazing, but yet still sound like you.
Well, that was my goal from the very beginning, because growing up in Atlantic City, there were a lot of talent, a lot of clubs, and all kinds of music. And I, from a very young age, was playing all kinds, playing bar mitzvahs, playing in strip clubs, playing in cocktail lounges, playing in jazz clubs, playing in surfing bands, So I was getting a vast experiences of a variety of music. So for me, I expected to play it all, and that's why I think at a fairly early age I decided I wanted to be a studio musician, because I didn't want to play just one thing for all the time. And I saw a lot of the guys coming through, and they were tired of playing those hits every night.
Yeah.
So I knew what that felt like. So I decided I was going to go into the studios, because then I could play different music every day and don't even know where it's coming, but it felt like I could really, and that's what I did,
So Harvey, how would you instruct today's drummers and percussionists who get conservatory training but they think they're going to just do one thing? Why is it important for them to understand you have to be able to play all kinds of different music?
I think so, because otherwise you limit yourself to only playing one kind of music, and music is variety. I mean, music is great. So I think everyone should really learn to play everything. I studied, and I graduated from New England. I studied orchestral music and everything, and I got to play with one of the top orchestras in the world as a guest. So that was very rewarding for me. But I love all kinds of music. I honestly do. And for me, I miss the studio work, because it's not the same anymore. It's gone, and there are a few things here that come in that are exciting. But other than that, it's different. A lot of the guys when I moved in didn't die. They've gone on. So I happened to come to L.A. during the golden age of recording. So I was very, very, very fortunate. I worked every day, 3 times a day, and sometimes on the weekends as well. So I had a pretty normal life as far as a home life, but music was my joy, And I love playing everything, and regardless of how simple it was, I felt like I was playing my instrument, and I was trying to get better. I was getting better, and being able to interpret music, and knowing when to push and know when to pull and move, and all those kind of things were so, just you learn so much. So I really enjoyed it. I do miss it. I had a ball. I'm glad Foreplay came along when it did, because we had a good run. We had 30 years, so we had a good run, and I was still able to keep the other thing going a little bit. But and I enjoyed doing that. At that time, my life was time to go out and do some of that and meet the fans, because I was making records, but I didn't tour. So that's why I think I'm behind a little bit now, because I did not tour, but I kept making records. I have 15 solo records.
Speaking with Harvey Mason, so Harvey, give us an idea what it was like with the Hurricane Hancock Chameleon era in terms of, because you were getting so much exposure on places like Soul Train, American Bandstand, but you're touring all over the world. So what was it like for you to see that from your vantage point and perspective?
Well, as you know, I didn't go on tour with anybody.
That's right.
Unfortunately, I didn't go on tour with Herbie at that record, and he gave me a lot of slack about that.
Yes, that's where I was going.
But Mike went out, and they had a great time. So I didn't see the world from Herbie's perspective, but we still stayed in touch, and I live a block away from him, so I'd see him, and it's all good. You know, we did that 50th anniversary thing last year, which was very exciting, and 20,000 people came out to remember that. That's crazy. But it was a lot of fun. I had a ball, and we played, and then Herbie had his regular band play, and then we played together, and it was just so much fun.
Speak with Harvey Mason on Jazz 90.1. So Harvey, as you've literally seen the world change in terms of musicians and studio work, and so what advice would you give musicians now who have to deal with the challenges of today's world of what's going on?
Well, when you go to these schools now, I think you have to really study all of music. I mean, writing, producing, publishing, and learn everything about music. And as far as playing, really know how to play instrument very well, but you never know where you're going to land. I had a friend that asked me to talk to their son. He was going to Michigan. He wanted to be a jazz tenor player. And I told him, you know, you have to go there, you have to study this, you have to study this, you have to study this. And he did, and he came back, and he had actually stopped playing, and he got a job with Hans Zimmer. And he doesn't even play anymore, but he's a writer.
Yeah.
You know, he's been doing big shows, and he's very, very happy. But because he listened, and he took all those courses, and he found some passion in something else other than just playing. So you never know, you know, when things come, you know, you just kind of have to gravitate here and there and be excited about it, you know, and there's so many aspects of music. And so if I'm going to school now, I'll tell the kids, study everything you learn, you know, so you can learn. You never know where you're going to end up. You never know what's going to come to you, you know. And that's the one thing about life. Things come to you, and you have to know whether to make that decision to go left or right. And sometimes that can be the whole career maker, you know.
Mr. Mason, thank you so much for taking jazz and music further with all your work.
Well,
Appreciate it
thank you
very
very much. I love it, and I love jazz. That was my start. That's where I started, and I'm going to end up there. but I love it, and thank you for having me. And I love these guys are doing a great festival. This festival is amazing. It's really amazing.
It's special.
Yes.
Thank you,
All right,
sir.
Derrick. My pleasure.
All right.
Thank you very much.